Hello, ladies and gents! This is the better late than never edition of the T25 Pilot Number 1 review. A video I was actually quite looking forward to do, I just simply didn't manage to fit it in earlier. This, of course, is about the brand new Tier 8 American Premium Medium tank that you can get for free or potentially very cheap during the currently running 2-week-long marathon. Now, if you want to skip the very brief details on the machine and jump straight to the gameplay, as usual, there is a timestamp waiting for you in the description below. Now, I did play the tank myself to get to know it, but due to the lack of time, I decided to include a nice aggressive gameplay from what replays in this video. You know, quality first, patting myself on the shoulders second. Otherwise, without boring you to death with the details, here is the gist of the machine. The gun itself is a rather alright 90mm, similar to the ones found on the other American Premium Medium, the Korean pattern, and the regular Tier 8 Pershing. Its pros include that comfortable, although not exceptional 192mm of penetration and 240 alpha damage, combined with an overall lovely gun handling, including the aim time and the overall dispersion as well. The downsides include a mediocre rate of fire and DPM, topped with a lowish shell velocity, while we also have to mention that the 0.35 meters dispersion that we have, while not being bad, can be rather trollish at long-range sniping. Mobility-wise, it's pretty much good news all over the board. The low power-to-weight ratio might seem a little bit scary at first, but this is more than compensated by the exceptional terrain resistances. All this is accompanied by a rather solid turret and hull traverse speeds, making this tank an agile little beast on the battlefield. The trade-off is of course with the armor, of which you don't have a lot at all. I mean, we could mention that you still have very few auto ricochet zones here and there, and that you can actually carefully sidescrape against most guns with it, or the fact that the gun mantlet actually works quite well against guns with sub 180mm of penetration, but for the majority of players and for the majority of situations you will encounter, the rule should be simply do not get hit in the first place, or you will get wrecked. And finally, to close things off, your view range is pretty good at 390 meters, so make sure to make the best use of it. Right, so what does this all mean? Is it good? Is it bad? Should I worry about getting through that marathon in the first place? Well, in my opinion, it's a quite good machine, without being by any means overpowered, available at the moment at full price at the same price point as the always awesome AMX CDC. Now, if you would just focus purely on the credit grinding and the overall enjoyment factor, I would probably still go with the CDC, to be honest. But if you can complete as little as 7 days of missions in this 15-day-long marathon and buy the remaining 6 tokens, you suddenly only have to pay half price for a quite alright Tier 8 Premium Medium, changing this situation completely. In my opinion, from 7 or more missions completed, the value proposition of the tank goes up tremendously, to the point where it's potentially a really good deal for your buck. I have to underline though, this is not a defender, and you will get wrecked really fast if you play carelessly. If, however, you can play a careful support role while looking for opportunities, you will definitely have a lot of fun with it. It's also a great machine to cash in at the cleanup stage of the battle, an often overlooked feature that really helps to turn your mediocre games into good ones right at the end of it. But that's probably enough with the words. Time for some real action instead. Alright, so here we are in our T25 Pilot, this time around in a standard battle on good old Karelia. Now, just a very quick reminder that it's actually not me playing this time around in the tank. Instead, we have the pleasure of watching Pitbull2830 bringing out his brand new Tier 8 Premium Medium for a spin to see what's capable of. Now, as we slowly get going, let's have a quick look at the matchmaking, which is rather nice, and let's do a little bit of a mental exercise here, having a look against which tanks we can effectively go hull down and use our gun mantlet. Now, if you remember, our mantlet will probably be effective against guns with sub 180mm of penetration. So we have a chance of blocking AP shells from the T-34-85 naturally, KV-85, the IS, the IS-2, the T-44 and also against the IS-6, which of course only has 175mm of average PAM. So that means with a very good chance, if we are hull down and they hit the mantlet, we will be able to block those guys. Remember though, if they press the 2 key, it's a completely different situation already. Plus, if they miss the mantlet and actually hit the cheeks of the turret, well, they are pretty much guaranteed to go through there as well, including even that tier 6 medium tank. So yeah, this definitely is a rather fragile tank, and something we should be really trying to avoid is the artillery as well. If you have rather weak armor, HE shells will completely wreck you. So artillery T-49s will be the doom of this machine. Luckily though, there is only one artillery in this match, so it's not all bad news. Now lovely tracking shots there into the IS-3 and also against the defender, so that's a rather aggressive start there for a tank this fragile. And that's actually exactly why I did choose the replay, and there we go, we actually bounced the IS-6 who derps it into the gun mantlet. Probably wasn't really aiming there to be honest, but hey, we can get lucky a bit as well. And thanks to those tracking shots, look how quickly this guy is going down. Now we have been switching here to APCR, which we will have loaded for the next couple of shots, and yeah, well, that's a cooldown Jagdtiger 88, so we will definitely need those. Now APCR I didn't mention in the review, they are more a run-of-the-mill really. About 240-ish millimeters of penetration is not bad, it's definitely required for the Jagdtiger 88. The lower plates have about 200 millimeters all over, so with our standard AP rounds, the 192 millimeters, we would have to roll pretty high to get through and would probably bounce an awful lot of shells. APCR rounds though, 240 millimeters of penetration, not bad, but definitely not the best among the tier 8 premium mediums. Now we see here getting a bit frustrated with the Liberté in the back, who is actually pulling back instead of pushing forward. Unfortunately that guy, despite all of his frontal armor, didn't really manage to get into this match at all, and now he's abandoning the flank. Which you could justify, I guess, given that the other side has just fallen. However, with all those tank destroyers and medium tanks pushing around the corner, now is really the time to pressure this flank to make sure we don't get into a two-front fight. Getting rid of these guys right here will either allow us to push into the base and force them to turn back or at least split up, or we can then easily turn around and focus our forces against the enemies that decided to take over the other side of the map. Oh, there is a lovely shot there in the Jagdtiger. Is just out of cover just enough so we can get his drive wheel. Now we could switch here back to regular AP rounds, we don't need the APCR for those shots. But hey, securing a kill on a rather dangerous tier 8 tank destroyer is always worth a few extra credits. And this is the situation we really want to be in. Look at all these cornered enemies. There is a Super Pershing and a Scorpion G ahead. Scorpion G is down, so it means it's time to feast on the Super P's ass. Look at that lovely ass. Now he's turning around, trying to get a shot off. Luckily he goes for the Panther 88, who unfortunately gets taken out. Have a look at the rate of fire. I felt quite often that I just wanted to have a little bit more, but it's alright. It's not too bad. 8 rounds a minute is the base, which you can then pump up with crew skills and equipment. So it does the job. So far so good. We are definitely on the upper hand here, so it's really about cleaning up, and that's again something that this machine, thanks to all the mobility, is actually rather capable of doing. Look at how quickly we glide through the terrain, and that's all thanks to the exceptionally great terrain resistances. In itself, the 14 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio is rather mediocre at best. But with the terrain resistances, have a look at how quickly we are able to re-engage the enemy. And now it's feeding time once again. Lovely shots in the back against the IS-2. Oh, that guy is aiming this way. That was a little bit delayed shot there, my friend. And now we can close the distance. Oh, almost missing there the Korean pattern. The original T-rate premium American medium tank. Yep. Welcome to the new kid on the block, buddy. So let's see how much we can get out of the match at the end of it. The T-29 is only on 20 HP. The IS-2 though still has quite a bit of health left, so hopefully we can feast on them a little bit. By the way, something that you should consider once again, you might have awesome terrain resistances, but going uphill, that lack of engine power will definitely rear its ugly head, so don't expect to go uphill very fast at all. Alright, T-29 down. Lovely snapshot there into the IS-2. We really don't care to take damage, which will be the first one in this game. And with a lovely shot, we actually finish on about 4,500 damage. Not bad, not bad at all. Alright, this was then our aggressive ace-tanker high-caliber gameplay featuring the T25 Pilot Number 1, driven today by Pitbull 2830. Did we see anything special from the tank itself? I mean, not really, but it was a capable and mobile T-rate premium medium tank earning a lot of credits. A premium tank that you can actually have for an absolute bargain these days if you have a bit of free time to play. Looking at the team results, 4,500 damage and 4 kills is a respectable result for any T-rate medium, and we certainly did outperform our premium counterpart, the Korean pattern on the enemy team, who by the way also finished on top of their side. And last but not least, we fired 26 rounds in these just about 7 minutes, hitting all but one of them, but only penetrating 21. As for our armor, we got really lucky there to actually bounce something, with one of the lowest penetration guns of the match bouncing off our gun mantlet, but that's not something you really should get used to all that much in such a matchup. Right, that's about it for the T25 Pilot, people. Let me know if you like the machine, and if you will try to grind it out during the marathon. I really hope that you found this little video helpful, or at least entertaining, and if you did, thanks a lot for considering giving it a like or sharing it. Now, next up we will close the week with another episode from our popular Arty Party series, bringing you some crazy RNG. And then over the weekend, I have some rather special videos coming up for you, including the introduction of my very own replay website and a handcrafted FAQ just for you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again in one of the next videos.